I mean, that's the one thing about, as we said, you'll always be our all-star. Coming back, I mean, that's the one thing. When you come back to Oakland, it's always coming back to family for you.
Generational.
Have a seat.
For him.
Have a seat.
Absolutely. All right, but it's good seeing you, man. Yeah, no, I mean, wow, what a legend that guy is. Unbelievable career.
54 years.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's beautiful. So, started as a bat boy, correct?
Started doing that, and he started doing equipment. I mean, since he was like 16 years old, and we always joke with him that he never had a resume.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have resumes when he started, but he never had a resume his whole career, 54 years with the A's.
Yeah, absolutely. Built a ton of awesome relationships. Everyone around the league you talk to, Fosse is number one. So it's awesome.
How have you been?
Yeah, doing good, man. Doing great. Enjoying my job, enjoying the team, enjoying the city. Bay Area is awesome, and always love coming back here for sure.
And obviously, the next 2 days, we're going to honor Ray Fosse today, who you know, and then we'll honor the new Hall of Famers tomorrow. Just there's something about it happens in all the two-team markets, but especially in this one, when everybody gets together, it's just something special. A's, Giants, Bay Bridge series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the rivalry with the fans is awesome, and then just the working relationships of kind of crossing paths has been awesome as well. And Ray was man, he was amazing. So many great stories about him, and obviously Fosse tomorrow as well. So it's a beautiful time to be here at the Oakland Coliseum.
Correct. Just call it the Oakland Coliseum.
All right.
There's wait. You don't
too many things.
You don't need to worry about that. The one thing about Ray that I don't think a lot of the fans know is that, here's a guy who's a two-time World Series champion and all-star and everything, but how much he loved you, the players. Didn't matter what generation. He loved the players and always had your back.
Yeah, 100%. I remember talking to him countless times in his office down there by the weight room. And I lost my dad a few years ago, and with Ray, he got to know the families that were always around as well. I mean, he was so giving, always wanting to just chat it up, and my dad and him built a really cool relationship. My dad would bring him up dibs into the press box all the time during the games, and it was awesome. And those are the type of memories that I remember outside of the baseball things, is just the relationship building, the respect he had for current players, former players, their families, what they go through on a daily basis, and just the bridges he built, amongst the families and players,
I think about this place for you. You starred here. I mean, you blew people away out on that mound. And I know when you get here and you got to get prepared, you got your staff, you got meetings, you got to deal with the catchers, pitchers, get everybody ready. But do you ever take time to sit back and look out and just kind of remember what you did on that mound?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this place is always special to me, always will be. It was my first taste of the big leagues, and having success personally here was awesome. I always enjoy coming back here. Even my guys now give me a ton of crap for it, and they're like, "Oh, the house at Balesville." Just catching up with Selman on the line. He's like, "Every fifth day we see you on the leaderboard here with the Oakland A's saves leaders," and so I'm just blessed to be a part of this organization, this franchise, being drafted by them, and such a homegrown organization. Really, really awesome, and blessed to have my start here. I honestly don't think if I was in another organization, I would have had the opportunities I would have had.
That's interesting, and obviously the opportunity of baseball from a player has led to this. Last year when we talked to you, you guys were riding high, led to 107 victories. Far different story this year. Just how tough has it been this year versus what you saw last year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, hopefully I'll be in baseball for another 30 or 40 years, but I don't.
There's a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would see another season like that. It's such a unicorn season. Everything went right. Everything, in-game players, health, a lot of things went right. And we hit all the right buttons. The players, the culture there was great. The culture's there great now, but baseball's such a funny game year to year. A lot of the same current roster, injuries, of course, running into some tough one-run games, and but we still believe in ourselves. I mean, we're not totally out of it. We know we got to get going here and get hot. We have we play all the teams in front of us still, and
true,
I mean, obviously post All-Star break has been tough. We ran a rough 8 games with the Dodgers, and But we got to get right, and we believe in ourselves. So outside playoff is, we're the chances to get there are still in our we still control that. And last season, man, it was like that's why you take those seasons, like you don't take them for granted. They don't come around too often. I don't think we'll ever be the Dodgers, so to speak. I mean, they're obviously superstars up and down the lineup, and we believe in ourselves as a team and how we do things, and worked beautifully last year. And this year we just fell in some misfortune so far, but it doesn't mean it's over yet.
Knowing that we were going to have you on today, obviously A's fans love it. They get to see you, and you're always
we're on TV too.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that.
We've stepped our game up.
Wow,
over
look
here.
at this.
So the thing that I really wanted to ask you, because you're going to – I don't know if you're going to know, but being a former bullpen guy, this is like the question that is so tough to answer for front office people, is because we're dealing with human beings.
Yeah.
We have these big bullpens, right?
Yeah.
One year you can have a bullpen that's absolutely lights out. We saw Blake Trinan have a Dennis Eckersley-like year. It was one of the great – he got MVP votes.
Yeah.
And then the next year it's not the same. The
Yeah.
bullpen's not the same. Why is it so hard year after year to have a consistent bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, a lot of guys, what we preach is stick to your strengths, and they always do. And you look at Tyler Rogers with our team. I mean, 2 years he was one of the most dominant relievers in baseball. This year he's kind of going through a little bit. Doesn't mean that we've lost any confidence in him. It's just that balls are finding holes. I mean, things happen like that, and you can't control the ball once it leaves your hand. And the baseball gods kind of speak differently. And I always joke with some of my front office friends, like if I signed a reliever, I'd always sign him to a 2-year deal, because you're always going to get one good one and one bad one. You never know which one's going to come first. So if you sign him and he has the bad one first, then whatever. But yeah, you just don't know. It's hit or miss, and I mean that's why the good ones stay around for so long. The ones that are so consistent, it being in the bullpen, and it's so tough. I mean, you see the volatility of the roster management and construction from a bullpen. It's kind of that carousel effect. I know they've put limitations on there recently this season, but yeah, it's so hard to stabilize as a key bullpen piece. I mean, you have to be so consistent for years and years and years, and those guys play forever.
And it's driven me nuts for a long time that a lot of our great closers, they didn't get the love for the Hall of Fame, right? They made it seem like, those are not the hardest outs to get.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at these bullpens. You're starting to realize, what Mariano Rivera did, what Trevor Hoffman did, Raleigh Fingers, Dennis Eckersley, yourself, all these guys. Like Billy Wagner not being in the Hall of Fame is a joke.
Yeah.
Should we now start to see and have more appreciation for the guys who were able to get saves and rack up those big save numbers all those years?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as a former closer myself, I'm not one to believe that the highest leverage comes in the ninth. It's definitely different. Those 3 outs are definitely different over a long stretch of games. But I do believe that there isn't enough appreciation for the guys that have done it for such a long time. But yeah, I mean, Billy Wagner, please don't group me in those guys. I played half the time they did, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough inning. I mean, there's usually no one behind you. There's no safety net, and that's the scariest thing about the ninth inning is just there's no safety net, and you have to block that out and go get a job done. And typically there's no matchup. It's not matchup dependent left or right. You just got the ninth, right? And I think there's multiple ways to do it. And when bullpens are a little inconsistent, you try and match up a little bit more than say you just throw guys in the 8th or 9th.
I like to ask pitching coaches this because there's starting to be the death of the starting pitcher because the lack of the innings pitched, and we're relying more on bullpens than ever before. Are you worried about the lack of innings we're getting from starters around the entire game?
I think overall, no. I think your horses are still getting the job done. The 200 inning mark is a lot. I don't know how many you're going to see of those, but I mean, starting pitching is what wins, right? Anytime we have any one of our guys go 6, 7, 8 innings sometimes, those games are just like, oh man, that was a piece of cake. As a manager or as a pitching coach, you don't have decisions to make. But I understand the numbers behind things and the third time through, and the health risks and your investments there. So that's a tough question, but you're always going to have the guys that are just different. I don't think, if you have a front end of a 1-2-3, like those guys are always you're always going to want them to go. I think your 4s and 5s, it's a little different. It's the guys that you might have to protect a little bit third time through, or match up, a little bit strongly, in the 5th or 6th inning. So those guys are just different. The front end horses are just different than the rest of the rotation. And that's a matter of fact. Those guys are just different.
Let's end on this. Are you thrilled now about the National League West? Now you got Juan Soto. Fernando Tatis Jr. is coming back. You got Machado. You got Mookie Betts. You got Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a lot of talent in this division you got to worry about.
No doubt. I mean, we beat everyone last year. We beat the Dodgers last year. We won the division. Obviously this year it's going to be winning divisions can be really tough at the position we're in, but all you have to do is get into the dance, man. And we proved to them that we could beat them last year for their own brand of baseball. We worry about us and the way we do things. And, that's all we can control. So I don't think we need the quote unquote superstar talent that gets, marketed by MLB or social media or whatever. This year, all we need to do is get in a dance and we can win this thing. Next year, same thing. So I'm not too worried. I think we proved that we can handle ourselves last year.
We always appreciate your time, folks.
Awesome.
That's an A's All-Star right there coming back to
Thanks,
town.
Guys.